There we go. I don't stream that often.
Oh, it's
Uh,
fine.
okay.
To be truthful, I don't either, but when I do, it's a big one.
Fair enough. Okay, so we have for Charmless Crescent a zebra pony hybrid. Okay, we can do that. Let's have a look. Okay. So, how have you found the stream so far then?
Delightful. I've actually been doing pretty good. People have been keeping me awake. The art has been fantastic, uniformly good. I've had some fantastic conversations, and I'm especially stoked by the fact that we are clearly on our way to making this goal, especially when you factor in the fact that myself and several others within the stream have donated items to sell on eBay, which are all ending today. So that's going to be
Brilliant.
hundreds of dollars there alone, and we're totally going to make our goal.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's really a relief to see this long, slow climb to that goal come to a close.
Yeah. Aw, it's good when you can do something for somebody.
Absolutely, it's there's no better feeling.
Right, let's have a look. Looking off into the distance was the prompt, so I'm assuming this will be fine. I don't envy you for having to stay up, though. That's the one
Nah,
thing.
it's no fun. To be truthful, though, it's easier at 40 than it was at 20.
Yeah?
You need less sleep as you age.
Oh, fair enough.
Still sucks though,
I can imagine.
but there's no greater feeling than sleeping like 12 or 16 hours afterwards and waking up feeling like a new person.
Yeah, I bet. Let's have a look quickly. Yeah, that works. I've spent most of my morning either in the stream or doing college work, so that's been interesting.
Awesome. Are you studying art?
Yeah, I'm doing illustration, game arts, and graphic design.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm actually considering going back to university myself.
Okay.
I never completed my degree, and I'm trying to emigrate to Canada because of what's going on in the US now, and Canada wants degrees. So I'm
Wow.
like, well, I guess 40-year-old me has to go back to university and finish what I started.
You can do it.
I believe I can.
Yeah.
This is a cute little prompt.
Yeah. I really like it. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, what am I doing?
I think I'm actually going to check on those eBay auctions, actually. Let's see
Go
how they're
for
doing.
it.
We've got a bunch of them. Let's see. And they're all going to this cause.
Brilliant.
We've got a BronyCon lot for $36.
Oh.
We've got the Tony Fleece framed. Oh no, I got to get that scanned for the. I'm making a blow up of it, a single enlargement, professionally enlarged for BabsCon.
Oh.
Uh, and the artist is going to re-sign the enlargement if I can get him, and that way I get twice the charity out of one item. But that's going for $179.
Smart.
We've got a framed Sophie Scruggs thing signed by Lauren Faust for $74.95. A Dusty Cat plush for 33. A one of a kind Haze Sailor pinup of Sea Sailor for 44.95. Yeah, there's no way we're not making this goal.
That's brilliant.
This is just like the slow coast to victory here. I'm
Ah.
so happy.
it's really good to know. Definitely. Profiles. Not too bad at them usually, but there. Okay, let's have a look. Um,
Very nice looking.
Thank you.
It's a lovely expression.
I'm trying to make characters more expressive recently. I always tend to
It's
do the
working.
same face, but thank you. Getting there. Getting there. Okay. Oop, wrong layer. Curse of every artist.
God, I've done that so many times when I'm doing compositing. I don't draw, but I do a lot of editing, like making all the posters for Sea Bronies, and sometimes I've got like 72 layers on these things.
Oh, nope. Nope,
It's,
nope,
it's
nope.
a madhouse.
I I'm one of those artists that's quite chaotic in the fact that I won't group layers. I'll just keep going.
Right.
So I can end up with about 70 or 80 layers and then realise I have to find one individual thing.
Oh God, yeah, I hate that. I use the GIMP. I don't use Photoshop because I got used to the GIMP in college, and now I'm too old to learn anything else. And I don't know if the GIMP even has proper layer grouping. It just has layer locking, so like I could make one group, but that's
Mm,
it. I can't like put a bunch of layers into group A and some to group B. So it's layer management is just really painful in the GIMP.
yeah.
Really painful. One of these, I keep saying one of these days I should learn Photoshop, but then I say to myself, why? The skills that I have work.
Yeah, fair enough. To each their own, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you when you've used a tool for 20 plus years, if you can make it do what you want and not get too frustrated, why not?
Yeah, exactly. I can't use Photoshop to save my life. Like, I use
Oh
Clip
yeah,
now, but
this is Sire in yeah.
I'm on Clip Studio.
Eclipse Studio. Okay.
Yeah. And that's quite an interesting one for me. Because I started using it this year. And yeah, it's an adjustment. I
Oh
used
yeah.
I used Psy before, so I'll fiddle with that later. But I've been drawing ponies for just over a year now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like a friend of mine, at the time got me into it, kind of as a what have you got to lose. And I've made,
Exactly. It's like at this point, why not?
yeah, and I've made good friends from it, and it's been fantastic, really.
Well, that's awesome. Have you
Yeah.
gone to any conventions?
I haven't. I know there's like a couple in the UK,
There
but
are a couple, yeah. I
it
still get the sense that the biggest one in Europe at all is probably still Galacon.
probably, yeah. It's
And
just,
they're all in English, anyways.
yeah, true. It's just a pain to travel at the minute. I'll get there
I know the
eventually.
feeling. I keep meaning to go out to Galacon myself.
Alright, okay. What's stopped you? Is it the travelling, or?
Something always seems to come up. Either it's on the same weekend as BronyCon, or I don't have the time off, or I
Ah,
don't have the money.
fair enough.
But one of these years, I'm going to definitely make it out there because eventually, there's going to be a last Galacon, and I'd like to see it before it goes out.
Fair enough. Okay, I need to
I love that thing that they do with plushies, the plushie-con thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is super
Okay.
adorable.
Bless. What am I looking for? I have to look up braids very quickly. I've never drawn a braid successfully in my life.
Oh, I believe in you. Even I can draw braids. They're not that hard.
Uh, I. I mean,
Compared to what you've drawn, I mean, I couldn't draw what you've drawn.
oh,
So, you got this.
thank you. I. Yeah. I'm just working out now what style as well, because it wasn't
Hmm.
specified too much. Just female, braids, brown eyes, I can do that. So we will have to see. Um, unless I think Charmless is actually watching now. I know he popped into the chat earlier. If he has any ideas, then feel
I
free.
believe he is watching, yeah.
Yeah, he can shout at me if I'm doing it wrong.
Bear in mind that the stream is delayed by around 30 seconds, so it might take up to a minute for them to respond.
Yeah, 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 of course. Might as well shuffle that forward actually while I'm
Yep. He just said, no, I believe in you, Graham.
here. Bless him. Yeah, like I'm. He happens to be one of the first people who commissioned me when it came to pony art and stuff.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, he stuck around and yeah.
Speaking of zebra pony hybrids, have you ever seen photos of actual zebra horse hybrids?
I haven't up until like this
Sometimes the
one.
the stripes do really interesting things. Like it's not uniform at all. You'll see they'll have stripes on their flank, and then they won't have stripes on their belly, and then they'll have stripes again somewhere else. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I I think it's quite nice that like as a prompt anyway, because you can just be really creative with it
Yeah.
and see where it goes. Like I've had to learn how to do markings and stuff for college recently because I designed a character that has a bunch of markings and it's like, oh god, how do I do this consistently again?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, that's one thing that like doing art for the Brony fan community even. Like that's one of the good things about working with a lot of people is you see so much creativity. It can give you so many ideas.
Oh, absolutely. I'm continually inspired by what the community can do.
Mm, definitely. And there are new artists still popping up all the time. So it just never stops.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Um, yeah, okay. Um, yeah, we can do some on that one as well. It's been quite cool to come in and see like people's creativity and how they do things.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Absolutely.
you go and see on social media and stuff, people do different drawings, but you wonder how. It's nice to see people's methods.
Absolutely. And these long artist, multi-artist streams are kind of fascinating for that. Just
Mm.
people watching and seeing the different techniques at work, and everyone has a completely different method of doing things. It's really amazing. I've
Yeah.
seen some artists who constantly are rotating their canvas, and then some artists who don't rotate it at all, and some artists who, prefer to use a tablet, and some who prefer to use a mouse of all things, and some who, it's incredible the diversity, and yet all of them produce such unique and high quality results.
Yeah, it is really impressive to see. I
When
love
I
it.
learned that Pixel Kitties draws, or at least in the olden days, she drew exclusively with a mouse, I was astonished.
Mm, I definitely have respect for anyone who can do stuff by mouse.
Oh
Drives
yeah,
me
it's very hard.
mad. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, okay. I kind of know what I'm doing. We'll see. Um, there. Okay. Apparently there's plans for this character, so I'm quite curious to see what comes up.
Cool.
Hmm. Okay, let's have a look.
Ah, I knew it.
Hmm.
Nusu means half in Swahili.
Ah, very nice.
I had a sense about that word. This must mean something in Swahili. Yeah, it does.
It works.
Very appropriate. Half.
Yeah.
It's a pretty name too, Nusu.
Hmm. Definitely.
Swahili is a very pretty language. It's very vowel heavy.
Hmm. I've never really listened to it as a language. Like it
You
doesn't.
ever watch The Lion King?
That's a very good point. It's in the Lion King,
Mm.
isn't it?
Oh yeah, the songs, the
Yeah.
whole Hakuna Matata thing.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
some languages tend to be very crispy and have lots of consonants and hard sounds, like German, which is all hard edges
Mm.
and diphthongs. And then some languages tend to be much more lyrical and vowel driven, like Swahili, for example.
Yeah.
It has a tonal quality about it.
Hmm. Uh, just double checking. Only definite thing I know about her colouring is the brown eye, so can do
Oh
that.
yes, I see what you wrote in the stream.
Hmm. Always good to double check.
Yep. Yeah, it's like I said, when you mix the various equine subspecies, when you mix like zebras and ponies, you can get a real mixed bag. You can get stripes in any random place. You can get brown fur. You can get a mixture of the two. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. It's like when you mix dogs. Sometimes you never know exactly where the qualities from one particular breed will come out and the other will come out.
It's very true. I'm for the moment going to just do the colouring of the uh, reference I was given and then see if they want to change it. I can always change it.
Yeah.
Easy enough to do. But yeah, I have never drawn any zebra characters actually.
Oh, cool.
Probably. Well, tell a lie. I drew one for Remembrance, the audio drama.
Okay.
I did a little bit for that, but that was the only time I ever had. So it's quite nice to do something I don't usually do.
I was actually reading an article the other day about zebras, about why is it that you can ride a horse but you can't ride a zebra. They don't like to be ridden, basically.
Fair enough.
I think there was like one trained zebra in history.
Mm. Oh. the more you know, right?
Exactly.
My other half picks up random bits of trivia all the time, so it's a bit
Oh,
of a
yes.
lesson every day with him.
I fear that I'm like that to my spouse. I'm the dispenser of random oddities.
Hmm. Uh, I mean, when we first got together, it was because he'd travelled a lot and stuff, he just picked up random things, so
Hmm.
it was quite
It's the same
interesting.
with me and Schmerg, yeah.
Mm.
Because I've done a lot of traveling, and Schmergen mostly stayed in the same state their whole life. So I tell
Yeah.
them all of these weird things that I've learned. Mostly quite useless, but some of them are fun.
Yeah, wow.
There's something to be said for trivia. It's enjoyable.
Mm. What's the most obscure trivia you can think of off the top of your head?
Ooh, that's a darned good one. Obscure trivia, obscure trivia, obscure trivia. Okay, here's one. This is not so much something I learned from my travels as something I learned from my reading materials. Did you know that Tolkien actually invented the languages of his books before he invented the mythologies themselves?
Really?
Yes, he was actually trained as a linguist first, and when he came up with the Lord of the Rings before he was writing the Lord of the Rings itself, he came up with the Elvish languages, Sindarin and Quenya, and he based them on languages that he found pleasing to the ear, euphonic. I think he particularly liked Finnish, was it? So he basically made one of them Elf Finnish and one of them Elf Latin.
Wow.
Um, and he built out a complete language, a system of orthography, and everything before he even started committing pen to paper for the book itself.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize. Pretty
That's
obscure.
impressive. Yeah.
Also, this one's not quite so obscure, but on the topic of Tolkien, that he hung out with C.S. Lewis. They were in a group called the Inkwells, I think.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty cool.
Inklings, Inklings. Yeah, I had to Google that. Yeah, they had their own little club, and there were a bunch of well-known authors in there.
Yeah, I remember when I was in sick form a while ago now, um, I ended up studying like Frankenstein and all that lot.
Hmm.
And very similarly, I think it was the author of Frankenstein, and there was a couple of other really big horror novels,
Hmm.
and they were all part of the same writing group. And
Oh yeah,
Frankenstein was written as a scary story, like in a little friendly competition.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I do believe I heard that about that grouping, the
Mm.
authors who got together, but I didn't realize that it was written sort of for an internal thing. That's really cute.
Yeah. And some of the characters are inspired by members of the group, apparently.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. I thought it was brilliant. Is anything from. Okay. Sweet. Brown fur's good. Can go with that. Oh, wrong frame. But I'm quite big on literature. I love reading. I love fantasy. I love
Myself
all
as well.
sorts. Like growing up, my mum had like a collection of the original Narnia
Oh, I
books.
loved the Narnia books. My
Oh,
first persona was a Narnian fox named Caspian.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I remember like when I was a lot younger, I was in sort of the first few years of junior school,
Mhm.
and I'd bring in these books, and I was kind of like looked at oddly because I was what, maybe 6, 7.
I was much like that. Yeah, I always read several years above my grade.
Yeah, because I didn't grow up with much technology initially.
Hmm. So it
Um,
was books.
it was books. Everything was books for me. And like, if I got into trouble for anything, it wouldn't be electronics taken off me or anything like that. It'd be my books. So, oh,
That's
It's
funny. Yeah,
yeah.
my parents used to take away my computer, but ironically, they'd often take away my computer because they'd catch me under the covers with a book at 2 a.m. I had my little, because back then no one had smartphones, so I had a little book light, and I was reading usually my Narnia books, and they would catch me reading into the wee hours of the morning.
Aw, I love that.
It's funny because for a long time I ended up gravitating more towards the video games and the computers. And as I've aged, I've started falling back into the habit of reading more books. And I think it's improved my life so significantly. I missed that. I missed literature,
Mm,
and there's no substitute for literature. As much as I enjoy video games, even the ones with good plots, there's nothing like getting lost in a good story.
that's true. That is so true. I'm hoping to start reading Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
So
wonderful! Did you
yeah,
ever go to the Sherlock Holmes Museum on Baker Street?
I didn't. I've never been to London.
Oh, really? Oh, I love London.
I'm a
I
Brit.
love big cities in general.
I'm a Brit, and I've never been to London.
Oh, that's not that unusual. I know plenty of Americans who've never been to New York
Yeah, that's fair. I
or
just,
LA. In America, it's still not that uncommon for someone to have never left their home state.
mm, for years, I'd never left my hometown.
Where do you
So,
live?
now I live in Plymouth,
Oh, okay.
but at the time I met my other half, I lived in a little like fishing village, and I'd never strayed beyond maybe an hour outside of it.
That's like how my spouse was. They grew up in the Bronx in New York City, but then when they were, I think, a teenager, their family moved to a tiny little dot on the map called Pine Bush up in upstate New York in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Um, and uh, and just lived there they'd only been outside of the New York area because like there are several states that are really close to each other,
Mm.
but they hadn't really been outside the region except once to go to Disney World.
Oh right, okay.
And now we're running a world travel group, so it's quite a
That's
change. I
brilliant.
think they'd gone on like 2 flights before they knew me,
Mm.
and now we go on like 6 different round trip flights a year. It's
Wow.
quite a sea change, no pun intended.
Oh
But yeah, I like that. I like showing my loved one the world.
yeah. Like my other half and I plan on traveling eventually. It's just been a matter of when I'm out of college and things like that.
Oh yeah,
But
logistics are certainly a thing. I've actually got a large trip coming up myself. I'm going on a transatlantic crossing on Royal Caribbean uh, to recuperate from some cosmetic surgery I'm having done. I'm
okay.
going to be out of commission for a few weeks. So the first few weeks I'll be here, and the second few weeks after that I'll be on the ship, and then I'm going to tour Europe for a week and a half. Little
Wow.
whirlwind bopping around city to city. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, brilliant. Like I went to Germany for the first time last year.
Oh, which city?
Oh god, Nuremberg? I can't say it properly.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's what they
Um,
say.
my other half has family there, so we went
Oh, okay.
and yeah, it was really really nice.
Yeah, I'm going to Berlin myself.
Okay, I've heard Berlin's nice.
Oh yes, it's quite a hip city. Has been for a while now.
Mm, I think it was Berlin we said we were going to go to for our honeymoon as well, if I remember correctly.
Where'd you end up going though?
When we're planning to go
Oh,
anyway.
you're planning it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
uh,
awesome. Maybe I'll give you some good tips on places to go.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've been scouting out things to do, places to see.
Brilliant. Oh, stripes, stripes, stripes.
Stripey, stripey, stripey.
Oh, this is quite nice because for college, the markings I've had to do for my character is pretty much the pride flags, like color
Hmm.
schemes.
Right.
Um, because it's a whole big thing about equality and diversity and
Hmm.
blah blah blah. So that's been interesting, just going through and working out why each flag is coloured in a particular way, etc.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There was a very interesting conversation that I saw, and had some thoughts on myself about the rainbow flag.
Mm,
Originally, the rainbow flag had an additional, I think, two or three colors. Uh, in addition to having blue and violet, it had indigo,
mm,
and I think it had pink as well. At some point, they went down to the current design with six stripes, and now they have the new one for intersectionalism to add a black stripe and a brown stripe. I always personally thought that it would be better if they would integrate the old civil rights flag, with the fist, do
mm,
that in black and brown and integrate that, or do some sort of an orthogonal thing because it's an intersectional thing. It's not a parallel thing.
mm.
But yeah, flags and the study of flags it's a fascinating field.
Definitely, yeah. Like, I need to do a lot more research than I have,
You
but
know who knows a lot about flags is Chocolate Pony. Do you know him?
not personally, but I've seen him around. Definitely.
He's actually studied flags, I think, in university or maybe even professionally. He designs flags for conventions. He did one for Winnie City, I think. He did one for Vancouver, which is based off of the city flag of Vancouver, of course.
Mm,
He does some really good stuff.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to talk about flags and symbology and heraldry, I
Mm,
think he's the go-to guy in the fandom.
definitely. I'll have to have a look.
He's done some good stuff. I keep wanting to have him do a Sea Bronies flag.
That'd be quite good. Okay.
Let me check the cues.
Go for it. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay. Might try darkening the fur a bit. See how it
You know what
goes.
actually I think might work
Hmm.
is add a little bit of that gradient shading on the hooves, or not
Hmm.
the hooves, on the legs.
Yeah. I'll give that a go
Like
now,
between each
actually.
stripe, get a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So. Ooh. Wrong layer.
Well, I'm actually looking at zonies, zebra pony hybrids,
Mm.
and I'm looking at this one that's kind of fascinating. It almost looks like a pony that just got a really weird sunburn.
Yeah?
Yeah, brown with darker brown stripes,
Oh. That
but
is
like
quite
irregular
interesting.
stripes.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Genetics are so strange.
That's very
Oh,
true.
that reminds me, okay, another piece of obscure trivia that I know.
Hmm.
Um, you know calico cats, right?
Yes.
Do you know how calico cats are mostly female?
All right. Yeah.
It's because it's caused by a genetic mosaicism where one of the X chromosomes carries the gene for one fur color and the other carries a gene for the other fur color, and they're expressed in different sections of the fur. So like if you see a patch of white, that has the gene from one of the X chromosomes, and then you see a patch of orange, that has from the other one. And the fact that they're mostly females because only the female cats usually have two X chromosomes. So it's hard to
Oh,
get that coloration from a male.
that's quite cool. Yeah, I like that.
I love biology. It's one of the most interesting subjects.
I like
I
to.
wish I, it's, I wish I could have gone into bio, but then again, I wouldn't be able to pay the bills with bio not out here.
Yeah, fair enough. I absolutely adored biology at school, but I wasn't very good at it. So I just stuck to what I was good at, really.
That's pretty much my relationship with video games. I love them, but I'm awful.
Oh, yes, me too. Drives my other half mad. He loves gaming. Okay, I think we can work with that.
Schmerg and I actually recently got back from a convention in DC called MagFest, which is all about video game music.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Mm,
20,000 people. They've got a retro arcade the size of like a Dave and Buster's. It's so
Jesus.
good.
I've really wanted to go to like one of the big conventions. The biggest I've been to now is Birmingham MCM, which is
How big is it?
it's one of the bigger ones in the UK, definitely.
Like
Um
10,000 people?
Heck if I know. There are a lot. That's all I can say. Like,
I'm looking it up.
go for it.
It has. Sometimes it's hard to get attendance figures for cons.
Mm.
Du- Wow. Okay, no, big. Oh, never mind. That's the one in London. That's not the one in Birmingham. The one in Birmingham. Okay, it's still pretty big. 35,000.
That's not bad.
That's quite a big convention.
Yeah, like compared to the little local ones I'm used to, it's
Yeah.
quite cool to see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been to some cons that are literally 200 people, and then I've been to New York Comic Con, which is like 100,000, and they both have their place. They're totally different environments, though.
Mm.
I wouldn't go to one for the same purposes as the other. Like I go to New York Comic Con to shop, and occasionally to attend a panel or two, but I go to the little ones to relax.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll be right back. Bio
Okay.
break.
How are people doing in the chat? Well, I hope. Just do a little bit of shading, because I've got time, I believe. I do. Oh, hello, Guitar Orchestra. You said you'd be in chat. Hello. Oh, let's close that. Accidentally clicking on the wrong program. Oh. Everybody doing okay then? It's been a long stream so far and we've got so many more to go. I'm really excited to see how other people are doing. Yeah, we got time. Let's add some like lighter sections, I think. Let's just do it this way. I'm probably gonna do a bit more of a stream later for myself anyway. It's a good way to make sure college work gets done, let's put it that way. Let's do mane and tail, because they have quite interesting gradients. Mic issues? Me? My mic seems to be working. I might just be talking quietly, to be honest. Hopefully not. Like, if it keeps going up, let me know. I'll just talk a little bit louder for the minute and see if that makes any difference. I also have the habit of going quite quiet. Okay, let's do this. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, nearly missed a spot. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Clipping out.
I am back.
Welcome back.
And I've got a Coke.
Fair enough.
I'm alternating between things with a lot of caffeine and things with only a moderate amount of caffeine.
Gotta mix it up.
Exactly. And sometimes just plain water.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with the classics.
Exactly.
Let's do this as overlay. Okay. Ugh, Pepsi Max, huh?
Oh god, yes. Pepsi Max. I love that stuff.
I've got a bottle with me now.
Oh, okay, here's another funny piece of trivia. You ever play Conker's Bad Fur Day?
I haven't, no.
There's this one character named Beardy, who, because he has a beard, he's obsessed with something he calls Mepsi Packs. Because they couldn't say Pepsi Max, so they changed it to Mepsi Packs. He's like, have you got any Mepsi Packs?
I love it.
And the fans have interpreted it as a drink, but they've also interpreted it as some weird sort of pills. It's really funny. Mepsi Packs.
Just as you do. Let's thicken these lines a little bit. You know when you get a song in your head and it just won't go away?
Oh god, yes. The only antidote's usually getting another song stuck in your head.
Yeah, usually. I've got Anthropology in my head, of all things.
Oh god, that's a great one.
It is.
Oh, but yeah, it is an earworm.
Oh, God. Drives me mad.
Did you ever hear the Weird Al style Pony Polka medley?
Yes, that's one of my favourite things.
I love the bit where it goes, other than anthropology, this is my favorite. Wow.
Yes, it's so good. I may have driven my other half a bit mad by playing it again and again.
Yeah, I sometimes do that. I get in a groove with one song and just repeat it.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna do this maybe. Take that. Let's try and multiply. I'm just experimenting now.
Yeah. This looks fantastic.
Thank you. I'm quite happy. Not a bad attempt. Not a bad attempt.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And Charmless seems quite happy. So that's a relief. Okay, this is where I go, what is on a layer and what, like, that I can get rid of and what can I keep.
Oh, the layers.
The curse of the layers.
Pretty much.
there's one thing I haven't done. Uh-huh. I always forget, like, specific details. And then I'll post it and then remember later and be like, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Then, where's the stripes? There. Gonna try and do something with these, I think. Let's add some reddish tone in. There we go. I think I can close down the original reference. Yes. Don't save that. Oh, clipping groups, clipping groups. Always a pain to figure out which one you're using. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, wrong thing. I've been using Clip for a while now, and yet I always seem to forget where the tools are.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling. What bugged me is that they changed the interface for the GIMP recently, where they replaced all of the icons with prettier versions. But I don't want prettier. I want what my brain has been used to for 20 years.
Yeah.
A lot of software engineers don't seem to understand that. Software is a tool, and it's like if all of a sudden you had to hold your screwdriver in a different way, you'd be really confused.
Yeah, I get you.
I like that contrast with the blue.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Did you ever notice that a lot of movie posters are heavy on orange and blue? It's because they're some of the most contrasty colors.
Yeah, um, for an assignment I'm doing currently, I have like a grayscale cityscape,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a sky that goes from blue to orange,
Mm-hmm.
and it came out a lot nicer than I expected.
Oh yeah, that's a really striking color combination.
I'm gonna try and emulate it a little bit here. Just because they're supposed to be looking at the distance, it'll give something as a indication as to what. Just because I've got the time at the minute, haven't I? Yeah. '70s and '80s music buff. Yep, that's you alright. Ah. Try that. Let's see if I can get this gradient right. Shouldn't take too long. This has been really fun. Like,
Oh
seriously,
yeah,
thank you for having me.
thank you for being on. It's been lovely conversation as well. I
Yeah,
couldn't stay awake without good conversation and these tunes in my ears.
that's a relief.
That looks really nice.
Thank you.
I mean, it's simple and quick, but it really adds something to the piece.
I have one more thing with this, and that will be this is why I love Clip, because it's a lot easier to blend. Like, I always used to struggle with Psy quite a lot
Hmm.
because of the blending brushes, etc. But this, depending on the tool,
It seems like much more of a painterly tool than something like Photoshop.
exactly. Though it does work really well as a substitute to Photoshop, I've learned.
Hmm.
I had to do an assignment which was photo bashing, it's called. I can't stand it.
Photo bashing.
I can't stand it at all. But I couldn't use Photoshop to save my life. So,
Is that like lifting elements of one photo and putting it in another?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's
Like kit bashing,
yeah,
with photos instead of models.
exactly. Like, it's very much it's used a lot if you need like quick concept art.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, it's quite a common method used there. But I ended up doing it on this program rather than Photoshop.
Right.
Kind of as a bet with my tutor, because he was like, "You're not going to be able to get the same kind of results," and I'm like, "Well, let me try it, and I'll prove you
Hmm.
wrong." I was right. I was quite happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, if you really know your tool,
Mm,
you can do stuff other people would never expect of it.
exactly.
I've been doing that sort of thing with graphics editing myself since I was a small child.
Mm,
I once figured out as a little kid, uh, this is back in the 80s, there was this computer program called Print Shop GS, and it um, back then there was no brown. There was orange, there
mm.
was black, there was no brown. But I noticed there was a teddy bear which somehow emulated brown, and I zoomed in and I noticed it was orange and black in a checkerboard pattern. So I said, aha, I could do that. So I filled it with gray, which was black and white in a checkerboard pattern, selected it, and told it to turn all the white to orange, and voila, I had brown.
Well then.
I made the thing do things it wasn't supposed to do. And, you know, you can do that if you know a tool well enough.
Exactly. I
Oh yeah, that's nice. That lighting.
mm, I realised I need to change the angle of the lighting that I've done, but beyond that, yeah, just make it so it's like up here instead. I absolutely love digital art. I've been doing digital art for about 6 years now, roughly.
Cool.
So I'm
You
still
came from the
learning.
traditional art world?
Yeah, very much so. I couldn't afford a digital tablet for a long time, and
That seems to be a common occurrence, yes.
a friend of mine gave me hers and just said I never use it, so here you go. So yeah, that's how it works for me. Yeah, I think that works. There we go. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Brilliant. And
Absolutely.
with 5 minutes to spare. Not bad, not bad. I need to sign it. That's one thing I need to
I was going to say you should sign it.
do. I always get told off because I never sign what I do.
I've got a funny, it's almost the opposite problem as a printer. A lot of artists tend to sign their work in the corner, in the far corner, and when you print bleed, that just means the signature gets half cut off. So many times I've had to say, "Can I move your signature?" And almost inevitably they're like, "Sure, as long as it doesn't interfere with the artistic intent."
Mm,
But yeah, like there would be fine. But I've seen a lot of times people sign it like right next to the edge. I'm like, that's gonna get sliced in half.
yeah, I get you. Like, I used to have no problem watermarking my work, but then I'd completely forget.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I can export that now. And I can send that over to him in a moment. Yeah, sorted.
Really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, there we go. Program froze for a second. It's like, oh gosh, please don't. Yeah, okay. 3 minutes.
Let's see. I'm figuring out because I got to update the titles every hour.
Mm.
So after Blaze is Comet Sketch.
E.
It's funny because we've got 2 sketches in a row. We've got Comet Sketch, and then we've got Sketch the Witch.
Yeah.
Sheer coincidence that they ended up like that.
Ah, it works though.
Yeah. It's the sketch hour. Or 2 hours.
What's the saying? 2 sketches are better than one? Didn't.
Something like that, yeah.
Have everyone got their stuff ready? Has everyone got the stuff ready? I can speak.
Words are a thing.
Yes. I hope Blaze is ready after me.
They are.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they had some problems earlier. They resolved all of them.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
I'm glad. Considering I've got a second.
Oh, I see what you're doing there with the line work.
Yeah. Just thought, why not? Adds to it a little bit.
It's subtle, but you can add a real sense of depth with that.
Mm. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
There we are.
Brilliant.
Good stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So, this has been Arts Gremlin making this lovely portrait of this zebra pony hybrid. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And it's been wonderful chatting with you. And thank you again.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Next up, we've got Blaze. So let's bring in Blaze's link. Hi. Next up, we've got Blaze. So let's bring in Blaze's link. Pull it up on the stream. Okay, here we go. Blaze time. Alright, there we are. Air server, it's working now. Woo! I don't think Blaze is on. Nope, not on the channel. Back on the...
Hello?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. I see we got air server up.
Yeah, that's how I, used to
So how
test
does this
it
thing
with
work?
PC.
Does it stream from the screen of your iPad onto your computer?
Yeah, you just have to connect via a QR code.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
So some people stream like that, and some people stream directly from the device. What's the advantage of doing it one way versus the other, I wonder?
I'm not sure. It's my first time doing it, because I didn't know I could stream from Procreate.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. Cool, cool. So welcome, Blaze. Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Yeah.
Let's see, I gotta update.
I may be able